Well, an illegal immigrant is fighting deportation by seeking sanctuary in a Colorado church. Immigration authorities denying Jeanette Vizguera's request to remain in the U.S. The mother of four is now seeking a 3-year visa granted to crime victims that would waive her deportation. But immigration officials, they say that she has 2 misdemeanor convictions and has got to go. Nolan Klein is a trial attorney and Ashley Merchant is a criminal defense attorney. Good morning to both of you. Thanks for being here.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, so this is heartbreaking. I mean, anyone who reads this story, no one wants their mother to have to leave their children, and certainly not the only case like this. Nolan, though, you look at what President Trump is trying to do, restore law and order in this country. Where do you draw the line?
Yeah, I think that that's an important point that you make, that it's a sad story if you look at her story. But if you look at the individual stories of many people who might be on the wrong side of the law, a lot of them will engender sympathy. But that is not what we can do when we're talking about enforcement of laws. I mean, this is a nation of laws. It's a nation of immigrants, no doubt, but it's a nation of laws as well. And it's the fact that we're a nation of laws that attracts so many immigrants. In fact, this particular lady came to the U.S. after she was the victim of a crime. And now she's here, and I think that, you know, she would agree more than anyone that, I can't speak for her, but I would imagine that she would agree that it's the fact that we're a nation of laws that makes this such an attractive place. And whether those laws, as applied in an individual case, may or may not engender sympathy is not really the test for whether or not the law is going to be enforced.
So, Ashley, this woman told her children, you know, I have to leave. I'm going to go to a church. And her young daughter said, well, Mom, at least you'll be safe in a church. Is there something to a sanctuary church? Would she be safer there than, say, going into, you know, a grocery store or somewhere else? Where does this go from here?
Well, that's a really good question, because what she's seeking is she's seeking religious freedom. She's thinking that she is safe in a church because of the First Amendment and because of religious freedom. I don't think she's going to find much protection in the law with that argument, though, because the church has to balance, the religious freedom has to be balanced against a compelling state interest. And in this case, we've got a compelling state interest in enforcing our immigration policies. So I think the only way that she's going to have this safe refuge and actually find sanctuary in a church is if our policy, our government policy, says we are not going to enter these churches. We are not going to use these churches and go into them and actually remove people. We're going to let people find sanctuary. But I think without a government policy for that, our Constitution is not going to protect people who are seeking refuge in these churches.
Right. As we were saying, Nolan, it is an incredibly heartbreaking story, but she's got 2 misdemeanors, right, for coming into this country illegally, also for using a fake Social Security number to get a job. And her case, as we've been talking about, is certainly not the first. It will not be the last. How do we deal with this? There are going to be so many more that go to court, right?
Yeah, and I think that Ashley is exactly right. She's spot on when she says that our government interest in enforcing the immigration laws outweighs any religious interest or any interest that there may be in protecting the sanctity of the church as it relates to people who may take refuge there. I mean, a church is not an embassy. It is not sovereign ground of a different nation. If it were, we would have all sorts of people piling into churches and saying to the government, you can't touch me when you're here. There are all types of churches with all types of different beliefs who may or may not agree with U.S. government policy on any particular issue, and we simply cannot be a nation of laws if any person who disagrees with the law can violate it, find a church whose doctrine may agree with their violation of that law, and sink sanctuary there. I mean, it would be anarchy. It's just an untenable, no matter how sympathetic this particular case is, and no matter how politically charged the immigration debate is, that is just an untenable position.
All right, Nolan, Ashley, we're going to have to leave it right there. Certainly not the end of this debate. Good to have you here.
Thank you.